Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again, Juliet Grandma's Creations. I thought I would do a different sort of video and show you the way I do a French knot. So here goes. So first of all, what are they? So you can add French knots as detail, as embroidered detail for any project. So I made this cushion by Delphine Brooks and I added lots of little French knots for detail. There they are. That's what they look like. And that's how you can finish off a project and really add lots of detail to things. So how do we do it? Let me show you. So the first thing to say is, this is the way that I do a French knot, because I'm sure if you asked other people, they do them slightly different. But there are a couple of rules for getting these right. Now, they never come out the same. That's the whole point of embroidery, hand embroidery. Nothing's ever comes out the same twice, not exactly the same. So what you would do is just knot your thread. Now, I love to use pearlized thread and thread Perle rather, and it's size 8 because I find this really is good for getting the right result. So you come up your fabric and I'm going to just move away from my knot, I think. So I'm just going to come up somewhere else like that. Okay, so what you need to do is you hold where you've come up, you hold the end of your needle really close to that, and you wrap around your needle twice. Then you go back almost, and I say almost, in to the same hole that you came out of. If you go in exactly the same without a thread's difference, then your French knot will pull through. So that's one tip. The second tip is, you can see I'm holding this tight to my needle, because if you don't, it unravels and then it becomes a bit of a knotty mess. The third thing is I then hold between the needle and your fabric, and from the other side I'm holding, and then I pull through that needle, holding, 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 holding. Then just before it gets to the end, I let go. And that is my French knot. So I'll show you again. You come up, so let's come up. So we're doing the top of a stalk of grass here. You come up, you hold your thread and you have your needle very close to the hole. You're going to go back down, you wrap it round a couple of times, holding that thread. Then you pop it almost back into the same hole, and you hold that thread on that needle, and then you pull through your needle, holding, 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 holding. There we go. So there we go. Now, if you wanted them not to be all of a similar size, then there's different things that you can do. But my recommendation is, if you want them different sizes, maybe give a bit of depth to your embroidery work, maybe that things are in the distance or they're up close, then you could use a stranded thread or a floss of thread. And you could use, they usually come in 6 strands in one. I'll show you what I mean. So here we are. Here is a skein of thread, embroidered thread. And what makes this different is it's made up, if you unravel it, it's actually made up of 6 different individual threads, and then it's twisted together. So you've actually got 6 threads in here. Got 1, 2, 3 there. And these can be tricky to separate. What you need to do if you're doing a long one strand is to hold one end of the strand. So there we go. So you've got 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they're all twisted together to make a skein of embroidery thread. So if you wanted to make smaller French knots, then you could use 2 or maybe 3 of the threads, just keep them together. But as they get bigger, you could then add more strands and use a full strand if you want bigger ones. Whereas the Perle thread actually comes usually, not always, but usually like this. And although it looks twisted together, there is only 1 strand of thread. So that was a French knot. I hope you found it interesting. There's something called colonial knots, which are done slightly differently. You get a similar result, to be fair. But there's just a few things you need to think about. You don't want those threads all twisting up or pulling through your fabric, because then it just makes life very difficult. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Take care for now.